help.
But he was injured. Secondly, they were able to confine the fire to this one building. Let's go back to you.
Thank you, Marty. Now back out to the marina where we understand that fire is now even more visible. If you take a look at the pictures you see, they are provided by ABC Network. Laura Marquez, are you still in communication with us? Obviously, Laura cannot hear us. As she mentioned a little bit earlier, and as Chapin Day told us just after the quake hit, this part of the city is built on fill, and so all of the lines underground and all of the utility lines, in fact, the foundations of buildings are more fragile than they would be were they set in bedrock. So that kind of damage is the kind of damage report that's coming in from all over the Bay Area. Right now, we want to look south. We know this earthquake was epicentered perhaps as far south as Hollister. The initial reports put it in San Benito County. Later reports say it is epicentered 10 miles north of Santa Cruz on the San Andreas Fault. It was felt all the way down to the San Fernando Valley in the Los Angeles area and as far north as Sacramento. Channel 7's Tony Russomanno responded immediately when the quake hit. That was just at about 5 minutes after 5 o'clock, and he went through the South Bay to give us an idea of the damage there.
All right, I'm on a phone now. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm on a cell phone in South San Jose. There have been numerous injuries, serious injuries, too many for me to count. A dozen right at the scene at the Valley Fair Shopping Center to begin with. And fire departments, police units are still running with their red lights and blue lights throughout this area. Virtually every South Bay Police Department has called back their off-duty officers, has called in every officer. Highway 17 is effectively closed by rock slides and redwood trees falling across the highway. There may be a slow trickle of traffic edging through somehow, but with all the thousands of cars blocking Highway 17 at this point, it is effectively, if not literally, closed. Highway 280, same story at Highway 85. There's been a buckling in the road of about 1 foot in each direction, causing traffic to stop in each direction, effectively closing the highway at Highway 280. We're hearing now that the epicenter may have been 10 miles north of Santa Cruz on the San Andreas Fault. That would put it at Holy City. That's the area, that's the epicenter area from the last big quake that we had a short while ago. And we have received reports from Capitola and Soquel over the hill that there is extensive damage over there, glass shattered, walls cracked, that sort of thing. I have not heard anything from an area close to the epicenter yet, nor have I heard anything from Hollister, which is where we originally heard the quake was centered. People have clogged all the freeways. Traffic is at a complete stop virtually everywhere throughout the South Bay, and it's going to take a long, long time for anyone to get home. The power is out in most places. The Pac Bell building in downtown San Jose, the Pacific Bell building, I can see a plume of black smoke coming up from the top of that building. That is not a fire. That's the emergency generator at Pacific Bell running the emergency phone system right now. There's a lot more to report. Are you still with me?
Sure I am, Tony. Just to follow up on what you said a little bit earlier, we have a report that the Santa Clara Valley Medical Center had to move patients from one wing to another because of general damage at the hospital itself. Also, in Hollister, we heard that there was minor damage in the Hazel Hawkins Hospital in Hollister. In Watsonville Community Hospital, they may be evacuating all the patients to Community Hospital in Monterey, which has mobilized its regional disaster plan. So that follows to what you were saying about Valley a little bit earlier.
Yeah, indeed. The fire units and the ambulances were sending the people to the hospitals as they were picking them up, but they had no reports at the scene what was happening in the hospitals once the patients got there. We should say also that Highway 9 has rock slides, and I don't know officially if it's been closed or not, but again, there's such a crush of traffic that effectively all roads are effectively blocked in the South Bay tonight.
Thanks. That's Tony Russomanno reporting live from the South Bay. Right now, we should take a look at the transportation picture overall. Right now, I have the latest from BART. All service for the Bay Area Rapid Transit District is off. There are no trains stuck under the bay. There are no reports of derailments or injuries, which is certainly good news. Again, BART is not running any trains, and the system has lost all of its power in San Francisco. Officials are not sure when BART service is going to resume. We also they say, are still inspecting the system for structural damage. Right now, we want to go back out into the field where Leslie Brinkley is standing by to go live.
Go, Leslie.
Bay Bridge by the portion that was severed. You're seeing a car that attempted to drive over this 50-foot gap in the Bay Bridge. It has been like a drama here. It has been dangling from the edge, the precipice behind me, and these folks are just getting rescued right now. It's been about an hour-long effort. It's been a frightening scene here. As you can see, just below me is where this crack in the Bay Bridge occurred, a 50-foot section. You see down there below the two cars that were on the upper deck when the bridge collapsed. They fell below. We understand that the people in both of those cars did get out safely. We do not know the extent of injuries at this point. Down below us, where this fell down, there were people describing it as a garage door closing. And we don't know yet if there were any injuries or deaths down there. We do understand from eyewitnesses that there were one or two cars below that this portion of the bridge did fall on top of. You're looking across the bay right now. It's an eerie scene to be standing here by this big gap in the Bay Bridge. There were a lot of commuters standing down below here a short while ago. They have since left. They have been ferried back over to the city. The link between San Francisco and Oakland is not working right now. Back to you.
Leslie Brinkley reporting live on the landmark damage on the Bay Bridge. Other roadways where we have reports of damage again, Highway 17 from the Summit to Highway 9. The CHP says there are rock slides. Stay out of that area. And also in 280 in San Jose, there are problems at Race and the Southwest Expressway. We have a couple of urgent bulletins. Basically, we need to get this message out to the people who need to hear it. Dennis McHugh of Pacific Elevator Company says, would all elevator mechanics from Bay Area companies please report to their answering services or their company offices immediately. People are trapped in elevators all around the Bay Area because of widespread power failures that we've been telling you about. We'd like, again, to repeat that message. Would all elevator mechanics report to their answering services or their company offices immediately? People are trapped in elevators because of power failures. To follow up again, San Jose Police has been asking that all off-duty officers please report to their stations. And in San Francisco, would San Francisco firefighters please report to the San Francisco Fire Training Center? Right now, to get another update, we go to Jim Vargas, who comes to us by phone. Jim?
The Golden Gate Bridge Toll Plaza, Anna, where everything is very, very smooth, both north and southbound. The Golden Gate Bridge had a couple of engineers here when the earthquake hit. They immediately went out onto the bridge, and they have determined that it is structurally sound. There was no delay, I am told, by the toll captain here. Nothing was never closed down anyway, and traffic is perhaps just a little heavier than usual heading into northbound into Marin County, but everything looks pretty good here, especially in comparison to what has happened to San Francisco and obviously the East Bay. I talked to Captain Jackson Fung. He said that there was obviously a rolling. They felt it. One other person here who works on the bridge said it was the worst he's felt since 1957. But everything on the Golden Gate Bridge is okay. I just came in from southern Marin County where electricity and telephone service were both lost. Electricity still hasn't been restored, but at least in Sausalito, telephone service has again been restored. From Sausalito, you can see plumes of black smoke both in the East Bay and in San Francisco. In fact, from Ridgeway Street in Sausalito, you could even see the flames coming from one of the fires in San Francisco, I believe to be in the marina. Anna?
Actually, Jim, while you're speaking to us by phone, we are looking at that video, and as darkness falls around the Bay Area, no doubt those fires will become more apparent to people as they try to get home or get to their loved ones. We're looking at the traffic jam now at the marina. This is a live picture, and as you can see, there is a lot of damage out by where those boats are moored. All of that area, again, built on landfill. Of course, it is unstable, and during what could have been a 7.0 quake, a lot of that was undermined. As you saw that fire blazing, one of the great dangers right now, they say, of course, is power and gas. If you smell gas, please remember to turn off your gas lines in your home. Right now, for another part of the transportation picture, we're going to go down to Lisa Stark, who's standing by at the San Mateo Bridge.
Anna, we are standing at the Foster City Boulevard overpass over Highway 92 leading to the west side of the San Mateo Bridge. As you can see, the bridge is entirely closed in both directions. We have been here for about 15 minutes. They are turning cars around up. They are not letting anyone on the bridge. A few motorists are parked off to the side, perhaps waiting in the hopes that the bridge will reopen. At this point, we don't know of any structural damage to the bridge. We're not sure if they're just shutting it down as a precaution, but the San Mateo Bridge in both directions is completely closed. We do understand that the Dunbarton Bridge is open, so people may want to try that route, but I can tell you we were on Highway 101. It is jammed, especially in the southbound direction. It is open, but it is jammed, and I would suggest if you don't have to go anywhere, if you can stay put, that is really what you should do, because the freeways are a mess. Here in the Foster City area, power is completely out. The police are at intersections. They are directing traffic. We can also tell you that we understand they are going to close the ramps from Highway 101 to Highway 92. We understand at this point that there has been damage there. I have not seen it, but apparently the connectors from Highway 101 to Highway 92 have been damaged. You can see now we're showing you the police here at the intersections in Foster City trying to direct traffic. Again, traffic is very heavy on the freeways. We suggest you stay off them if you can. The CHP units have been ordered to check all of the overpasses. Certainly as they are doing that, we may hear of more of the overpasses closing as they see damage. As a precaution, they are just shutting them down at this point. It appears that the airport is operating at least partly. We have seen planes landing at SFO. We did hear an earlier report that one of the runways was closed. We have not been able to confirm that. Again, we are here in Foster City where power is completely out and the San Mateo Bridge is closed in both directions. You can hear sirens. They have been going on and off for the last 15 minutes. Again, the San Mateo Bridge closed in both directions, and we have no idea when the bridge will reopen. Again, a fire engine. We don't know where they're going, but as we've been reporting, there are fires everywhere. We don't see any in this area at this time, but we'll keep you appraised if we do.
Marina and what else?
Berkeley?
Marina and the Berkeley fires?
This is a very changing story, and I'm sure that you understand the late reports are coming in as quickly as we can gather them. We're going to be bringing them to you. Let us review, for those of you who are just making your way to your home and tuning in to Channel 7 News, preliminary estimates now say that the earthquake that rocked the Bay Area, Northern California, and was felt all the way down to Los Angeles may rate as high as a 7 on the Richter scale. The Bay Bridge is closed at this time after drastic damage, which we've been reporting on, crushed, it seems, 2 cars. We're not sure the number of people that were injured in that accident, but a 50-foot section of the bridge about a mile from the toll plaza collapsed. Right now, the Golden Gate Bridge is reported to be all right, but the 19th Street approach to the bridge is closed. Lisa just reporting from the San Mateo Bridge and reminding us that all of the overpasses over the freeways are going to be checked by the CHP for safety before they're cleared to traffic. Earlier today, people were gathering in Candlestick. We had tens of thousands of people expecting Game 3 of the World Series, but the Commissioner of Baseball came on the field shortly after everyone felt that jolt and asked everyone to go home. He canceled it. He made an announcement. He asked everyone to remain calm. Everyone felt it, of course, and he just asked everyone to go home and to, in an orderly fashion, make their way out to the parking lot. He said when he got up in front of the mic that he knew that this was just the first earthquake. Perhaps there could be another. They weren't sure whether structurally Candlestick was safe, and he wanted everyone to be out of the area by nightfall. Of course, you know that added pressure to all of the surrounding transportation infrastructure, and that's why all of the going is quite slow right now. For another update at the Earthquake Center, we go back to Willie, Monroe.
Well, Anna, we've been checking in periodically with Tom McAvilly, professor of seismology at UC Berkeley here. As I mentioned earlier, he had said this is a 7.0 earthquake. On on the Richter scale. That's the strongest since 1952, when the Kern County earthquake was measured 7.2 on the Richter scale. The strongest earthquake on land that we've had in California since then, bigger than Coalinga, which was 6.7 in 1983. However, the measurements at this time have to be preliminary. A magnitude would probably be assigned to this earthquake on the basis of a review of all the California seismology reporting stations, instruments that recorded what this earthquake was. So this could change, but at this point it is still 7.0. This earthquake was so large that the equipment, the magnitude is normally used, the equipment normally used to do this, to measure this, was not sufficient to actually give an accurate reading, and so it's not the best measure. It's designed for localized measurements of the earthquake far away from the epicenter. They tend to saturate at about 6.5 on the Richter scale. After that, the readings are really not as accurate, so that's why they're going to take a review of all of the seismology reporting stations in California to try to get some kind of accurate fix on it. He told me this is a low-frequency antenna earthquake. That means that it tends to start off with a very strong jolt and then sort of drift off. It's probably stronger in the lower frequencies, and therefore that's why there's that initial damage, and you felt the rumbling after that. Probably about a 30-kilometer break in the fault is what took place, either from close to the surface to as much as 20 kilometers below the surface. Those two plates shifting on the San Andreas Fault, separating by that much. What you would see on the ground, above ground, in the area of the epicenter, is probably as much as a 3-foot to 5-foot separation. They're going to go out and take a look at it and get an idea themselves of what else is going on. We can expect some aftershocks. We've already had some aftershocks. There is a very low probability, I am told, of an aftershock of an equal magnitude of what we felt in the original quake, that's 7.0, but there's a very high probability of aftershocks as much as 5 on the Richter scale, although as time goes on, it will be diminished.
Thanks very much, Willie. We are getting a couple of urgent bulletins, and I'm joined now by Don Sanchez, who will be continuing our report. We're going to be sort of rotating through and continuing our coverage and reports of damage in the area as we get them. Right now, we want to let you know that San Francisco International Airport is closed. The control tower, they are saying, is a disaster area. That is different than what we had heard a little bit earlier when Lisa saw planes coming and going. What we know now is that there is no air traffic. The airport is closed, and except for emergency crews, everyone is being evacuated because of extensive building damage. One more note. President Bush tonight was speaking to a group of Republican governors, and as he was emerging from that meeting, he was told of the earthquake in California. He came out very quickly and said the federal government is prepared to send any help necessary to help earthquake victims in the Bay Area, and Transportation Secretary Samuel Skinner is on his way to California now.
Okay, I need to talk into that, I guess. Oakland. Okay, all right. Thank you, Anna. We will continue here. Oakland Airport, by the way, since we were talking of airports, has 2 operational runways. 2 are closed, and they are out trying to evaluate the damage to buildings there. So that is at Oakland Airport. In case you have just joined us, of course, by now you know the earthquake struck shortly after 5 o'clock today. Preliminary reports have it anywhere from 6.5 to 6.9 on the Richter scale. And the epicenter, if I can show you with this map right here, the epicenter is in the Santa Cruz area. Whoops, we're pulling the microphone here. South of San Francisco in the Santa Cruz area, and it was on the San Andreas Fault. And according to one of the experts on this, what happened is that instead of the plates hitting as they would do, they slid back and forth, and that's what caused this earthquake, which looks like it is turning into, indeed, it is a major disaster in Northern California. Now, the Bay Bridge, of course, as you know, is closed at this time because of that 50-foot section of the bridge about a mile from the toll plaza has collapsed. In Sonoma County, there has been some minor structural damage, and there have been a few reported injuries, mainly to elderly. There are a number of retirement homes in Sonoma County, of course, so that is an update from Sonoma. The Golden Gate Bridge, as you heard moments ago, is reported to be okay. However, the 19th Avenue approach to the bridge from San Francisco is closed. The number 2 lane has reportedly collapsed, but as Jim Vargas was reporting, no structural damage that any engineers are aware of to the Golden Gate Bridge. The quake struck at approximately 5:04, and preliminary estimates put it at 6.5, 6.9 on the Richter. Again, as I showed you, the epicenter 10 miles south of San Jose. Major damage all over the Bay Area as a result of that quake. And we are going to take you now to the financial district. Well, actually, this is Union Square. The Union Square area, and Magnin and Macy's, of course, with their show windows, had extensive damage. Apparently, all of the glass fell. Obviously, brick covering on buildings in downtown San Francisco. One of the older buildings in the historic parts of San Francisco. Well, you can see some of the problems in downtown San Francisco. Major damage to businesses there. The World Series was postponed because of the earthquake. Channel 7's Dan Lovett is at Candlestick Park right now and has the latest. Dan?
Yes, Don, we are standing outside here at Candlestick Park and wondering what exactly the structural damage might have been to this stadium itself. Obviously, there has been some. They are looking at that now. As I said, we are standing outside of the stadium. There are still a number of people milling about out here in the parking lot. I was outside of Candlestick Park itself at 5:04 when this quake hit. And as I looked out into the parking lot, it was nothing but cars rolling and rolling. Both ball clubs have left this stadium. The Oakland A's and the San Francisco Giants and their families have been taken by bus, the team buses that they came to this park in. They have left. Roger Craig, I saw him leave with a number of people in the back end of his pickup truck. He too has left. So all of the players and the participants in this 86th World Series have left the scene here. As I said, there are still many, many people milling about, and there is some structural damage inside the Candlestick Park. To what extent, we do not know at this point. They're looking at that now. As far as my two-way communication with you here, I'm unable to hear you. If you have any questions, I'll just continue to tell you that it was unbelievable for all of us standing outside here, and needless to say, for those sitting inside, I have talked to several people who were inside the stadium. The dust came up. There was like a big dust cloud. The light rafters were moving. The stadium itself was obviously moving, as was the entire earth outside here. No one, believe it or not, at one point around 5:30, people still wanted a baseball game. We then at that time, Channel 7, of course, were able to get a hold of the commissioner, Jay Vincent, who gave us the first word here in San Francisco that this Game 3 of the World Series had been called off, and it was through his communication by our interview here on Channel 7 that everyone in this park would learn that this game was called. There's still, I don't know what to say as far as if there will be any game or not tomorrow, and where. That is to be determined, obviously. Police Chief Jordan also spoke to us here on Channel 7. I'll throw it back to you at this point. We'll try and find more information. All I can tell you at this point, a lot of cars.
We could see the fire over the hill looking towards the city. This was the plume of smoke we saw as we were stuck in the parking lot. At this point, we were listening to radio broadcasts. We were not able to get in touch with the station via telephone or our radio. And we were looking at this huge plume of smoke, wondering just exactly what was happening in the city.
All right, you are watching live coverage of the earthquake in San Francisco. I'm Robert McCormick along with Deborah Nelson. This is KOFY, K-O-F-Y, television in San Francisco. The earthquake struck at 5:04 this afternoon, and of course all over Northern California now, crews, firemen, police officers are being ushered into San Francisco, and of course that's not an easy task because they're not using the Bay Bridge. The Bay Bridge is closed. The Golden Gate Bridge is open, and we understand that traffic is not too bad on the Golden Gate Bridge at the last report. We'll continue to bring you, of course, up-to-date information from our reporters in the fields, but we want to keep reminding you that there could be aftershocks, there could be another earthquake. This 7.0, let's hope, is the most intensive that we're going to have, but aftershocks can also cause further damage to areas that had been not destroyed, but had suffered some damage, and that could just push it over to the top. You can have buildings collapse during aftershocks. So it's very important, if there's been damage in your home, shut off the gas, do not light a match, and perhaps you should consider leaving the area, leaving the home if you've got damage, or if you're in an apartment building where you could sustain further damage in an aftershock.
The power company would also like you to turn off the circuit breakers and to keep your lights turned off, apparently to lessen the load. on the systems right now. But safety is a real concern because aftershocks may come. In fact, it's very likely, and there are those safety tips, particularly the gas. Don't take a chance with that. It's very simple to go out, use a wrench, turn off your main gas line.
Okay, we have a confirmation that one person did die, at least one person died on the Bay Bridge when a 50-foot section collapsed this afternoon at the time of the earthquake. And we might mention that this was during the height of the rush hour, 5:04 p.m. Eastbound people, of course, were going to the East Bay, and a 50-foot section of the bridge collapsed. One person died, and of course they're looking for others who may have either fallen into the water or been trapped in their vehicles.
Because apparently the freeways leading to the bridge have also pancaked, so to speak, one on top of the other. I-80 and 880, which lead into the Bay Bridge. Where they are double-deckers, there has been major structural damage there, and we would expect that fatality toll to climb.
Updating the fire situation, the latest we had from San Francisco's Marina District, and you had the street locations. It's a 3-block area that is fully engulfed, and several homes there were being sacrificed by firefighters to contain the fire.
That's Jefferson and Divisadero, although it's certainly not confined to that area. That's where that fire originated, but we understand it's now spread to one entire block, and Beach Street between Broadway and Divisadero is affected, possibly 4 dead from that fire. And at last word, fire crews could not get water into the area. We're also told, Robert, now that there is a gas leak at Bay and Fillmore, so that certainly increases the risk in that area.
There's also a water shortage. We should mention that too, and that could it's hampering us here at KOFY-TV. As one of the reasons that we went off the air for a time is because a water main broke to Sutro Tower, and we may leave intermittently during the course of our coverage tonight the air. Please stay with us. We will be on the air. We expect throughout the evening bringing you live coverage of this earthquake on KOFY television. We have reporters, as I say, in San Jose who will be bringing us information and footage of the destruction there, and in San Francisco and in Oakland as well.
Again, to recap, if you're just joining us, a major earthquake measuring 7 points on the Richter scale, centered 10 miles northeast of Santa Cruz. Again, all of this still somewhat sketchy. The facts are changing rapidly as they come into our newsroom, so bear with us if you've heard slightly different figures. The worst damage appears to be the Bay Bridge and the I-80, 880 interchanges, where there has been structural collapse of the upper deck to the lower deck. Cars crushed, people trapped, rescue helicopters en route trying to get people out. Here's some videotape from downtown San Francisco, I believe, this just within the last hour. Collapsed buildings and people trapped under rubble, crews helping them, passers-by pitching in, pulling rubble and digging through trying to rescue people. We have heard of some fatalities on the street by people who have been trapped. People are also trapped in elevators in the financial district, so elevator mechanics are asked to call into their services. They are desperately needed because you can imagine there is tremendous panic among people who can't get out of their buildings.
All right, this is KOFY Television, live coverage of the earthquake, and we will stay with you, continuous coverage throughout the evening. We, of course, are operating on emergency equipment, as are many of the broadcast facilities in the Bay Area, trying to give you the latest information and, of course, to give you important information that could...
County. They say it's the lowest alert. They don't think there's any damage, but they're checking that out. Of course, as we know, the earthquake was felt as far away as Los Angeles. Now, we'll go back to the Marina. Laura Marquez is with us live there now. Laura?
Well, you can see this block of Divisadero is practically entirely on fire. The house on the right is the first one that went, and it went because of a natural gas main busting. The house across the street is also going up in flames. They are afraid that this fire is going to spread because there is no water in any of the fire hydrants. The fire departments are coming up across from the Marina Green, and they are pulling up hoses. A lot of the residents from the Marina are trying to help them pull the hoses. They're having to take them at least 4 blocks up in order to get this fire out. There has been a couple of deaths. They believe at least a couple of deaths. There has not been any confirmed, but they do know that one person was coming out into an ambulance. They don't know how many people are still in some of the buildings that have collapsed. They are not sure. Some of the buildings that were 4 stories now look like there are 2 stories completely underground. They're trying to get this fire out. They still have not been able to shut off the gas, and that is the biggest problem. They are trying to find out where that is. So they're telling everybody to evacuate, get out of this area. Please stay away from the marina area. And of course, don't smoke. Some people I know that sounds foolish, but some people are even doing it back on the Marina Green. You had to tell them to stop. So that is the biggest concern, is that this fire is going to spread and there is no water. And that is the scene from here on Divisadero in the Marina District.
All right, Laura, we thank you. Reminder, too, to drink bottled water. We have reports that sewer lines around Northern California are breaking. So that is obviously going to cause damage to our fresh water supply. Bottled water, these are the things that they tell us that we should always be prepared for in the event of what is turning out to indeed be perhaps the big one, if not very close to it, a major earthquake. And AT&T is urging callers to avoid calling into San Francisco in order to give priority calls to people out of the area. That's from a spokesman in Washington. So they're urging folks from around the country not to call us here so we can call loved ones perhaps. And there is an aftershock. I don't feel it, but I understand there is an aftershock. We're feeling another one right now. There were 2 aftershocks that came within half an hour after the 504 quake. And we certainly felt them here. We felt it here as television monitors fell off the wall. Television equipment was falling off shelves. We still haven't had a chance, obviously, to pick up that. So far, it appears that everyone is, although panic seems to be evacuating in a rather orderly fashion. One of the big problems is the Nimitz Freeway. That is I-80 in the East Bay, and sections of that buckled and collapsed. Okay, we have Mike Wesley in San Jose with emergency preparedness. Mike Wesley in San Jose. Mike?
Don, I'm at the Emergency Operations Center in San Jose. They do have a command post set up. I've just gotten some of the latest reports.
Yes.
The city of Santa Cruz, as I understand it, is completely closed off. Highway 17 is closed. Highway 9 is closed. Highway 152, the Pacheco Pass, is also closed. So at this point, apparently there is no way for people from Santa Cruz to get out of the area unless they want to go south on Highway 1 or perhaps north on Highway 1. I just got a report of a 50-car accident at Highways 101 and 280 in San Jose. They do not have a report if any injuries are involved in that. I imagine it is entirely possible. They are still responding on that. Several reports of damage down in this area. I felt the earthquake. I live down here. It was the strongest I have ever felt, without doubt. It brought neighbors out into the street. Just incredible. Understand at Santa Teresa Hospital in South San Jose, there's an 18-inch gas main that is broken. They are trying to find the source of that gas main right now. They have not found it yet. Do not have any reports on whether or not that hospital has been evacuated. They're checking on that right now. San Jose Airport is still open for emergency landings only. My understanding is the airport has 10% power. There has been some minor damage to the terminal and the control tower, and also there's a report of a broken water main on Airport Boulevard. They had one report of a brush fire off Kurtner Avenue near Communications Hill, also in South San Jose. That is under control. I understand also there was a fire at Cambrian Plaza in the Cambrian Park area of San Jose. That fire is also under control. At 3rd and San Fernando in downtown San Jose, they had a partial collapse into the roadway of a building. It was a burnout liquor store, but again, that is down in the roadway. Also at 1 San Jose Landmark, Original Joe's, some damage reported there to the building. No report on exactly how serious. I'm also told that people had to be taken out of the convention center, the new convention center in San Jose, because of report of tiles falling. I understand there were also some minor injuries at the Lucky store at Payne and Saratoga in West San Jose. The Valley Medical Center emergency room is full. Mostly minor injuries, we're told, nothing extremely serious. I should also mention down here, no report of any fatalities, at least that's what they're telling me at this point. One other thing, there was a chemical spill, a chlorine spill at Foxworthy and Almaden. I believe that's Foxworthy and Almaden Expressway in San Jose. That is not especially dangerous, they say at the moment, but stay out of the area. A number of...
Mike, if you'll stay there, and the reason we were talking to you by phone, we don't have any pictures at this point, is apparently the quake has knocked out our transmitter, our tower in that area, but we'll try to get pictures as quickly as we can. If you'll stay there, because we have some more late information here on this 6.9 earthquake that struck shortly after 5 o'clock this afternoon. We've just learned that 6 people were crushed to death in a 4-story building in San Francisco on Bluxom Street. It housed a company called Major Legal Services in an older building in San Francisco. 6 people crushed to death. Downtown Hollister, the J.C. Penney store there has collapsed. Jim Vargas, who gave you a report earlier at the Golden Gate Bridge, has arrived now at our studios here along the Embarcadero. He said there is no power, no lights, no power anywhere between the Golden Gate Bridge and this area. So that means all along the waterfront, along the Embarcadero, as well as in the area of Pacific Heights and the Marina. He said the only place that has a light on is the Soviet consulate, and that's because they have their own emergency power. George Artey, who is our building engineer here at Channel 7, has joined me now, and we've got the mic on. All right. Yep. George, we certainly felt this shaking because we're on landfill here, and it moved, it seemed like an eternity. Problems here in this building and also in this area?
Yes, we have water leaks going on right now in the building that we're taking care of right now. They're mainly outside the building. We've turned off the gas in our building. On the way into the city, when I came in...
Where were you coming from?
I was coming from Petaluma, and I left about 5:30, and I drove down 101, and it was clear all the way into the city. Terra Linda area had strong gas smells along the freeway.
Along the freeway.
Coming into the city, crossing Golden Gate Bridge, you could see the fire in the Marina. And when I come down the Marina, you could see that up the street where the fire was, it was like a volcano, just roaring up the center of the block.
How was traffic on Marina Boulevard at the time?
Going out of town, it was bumper to bumper. Fire trucks were coming up to the firefighting area on the traffic lane coming into the city.
Yes.
And the sidewalks along the Marina were buckled 2 to 3 feet on the Marina Highway, off the Marina, and the lights are out all the way down here.
All right. What about the Golden Gate Bridge? You had no trouble getting
No
across?
trouble on the Golden Gate Bridge. There's no traffic hardly coming into the city from Petaluma. It's light.
All right. And then you got here, and I know that you've are going around the building here to make sure that everything is okay here, because it's certainly a problem.
And watch out for cars that cut out in front of you, because I got hit in Midway and Bay coming in.
Oh,
and
really?
that was at 7:30.
Okay, the problem there is that there are no lights, right?
There's no lights, but
lights.
she was trying to make some time to go up through town.
Yes,
to get off that dead. It was just bumper to bumper.
The best thing is to try and stay put if you can, but it's very difficult. George, thank you very much. We'll go to Cheryl Jennings now. Cheryl?
No audio.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, we are not. We also have to mention that Highway 280 is closed at 18th Street in San Francisco, and certainly San Francisco, with the buildings all so close here, is experiencing perhaps the majority of the damage, as we might expect. There have been 2 aftershocks after the 6.9 quake, and as they tell you, the experts tell you, there could always be more, so be prepared for some major aftershocks that could come as soon as any time tomorrow morning or any moment. Of course, with an earthquake, there's no way to predict it. There's no damage to the Richmond refinery, we understand. The refinery, that would be Chevron in the East Bay, no problem there. Again, we have that unconfirmed report that a shopping center in San Jose has collapsed. There, along the San Mateo County area, there are some areas where there has been damage, including the Hillsdale Mall and Fashion Island. Most of us, I guess, are operating on emergency power, and certainly it's out in San Francisco. If you are picking this up now, perhaps in the Tahoe area or elsewhere, try not to call up the city and find out how loved ones are doing, because phone lines are jammed and they just simply can't handle the situation at this time. again, we just have to emphasize how important it is to turn off the gas lines in your building because, of course, ruptured gas lines could lead to a fire, and that's been probably part of the problem. As Laura Marquez indicated, that's what caused the major fire in the marina. And you should, as George was going to do, turning off the water lines because they are rupturing too, as well as the sewage lines in much of the Bay Area, and the sewage water now is getting into our fresh water supply. The biggest problem we've seen, of course, the bridges. The Bay Bridge closed, and we don't have any estimate how long it's going to take to repair that. But also I-80 along the East Bay. Okay, Cypress Highway. Okay, I don't know where that is. Cypress Highway is. Okay, in the Oakland area. Okay, the Cypress structure. Okay, that's okay. This is what we have now. This section of 880 is the Cypress section, and you can see the cars that were left there. This was earlier, but notice that that this part of the of I-880 buckled, and in some cases, there a little bit farther on, there were two levels, and apparently part of it collapsed. And a number of people were on their way to Jack London Square. They had set up a large television screen there for people to watch the third game of the World Series. If you'll notice here now, the lower level, the lower level, it appears that the upper level buckled and came slamming down onto automobiles there. It's going to take days to see how much damage and fatalities there, but that is, yes, it's just like an accordion. Very disturbing pictures to see there, but obviously loss of life in this area of I-880. And this was earlier today. The area of 6th and Townsend in San Francisco, you see the marina. The fire is still burning. George indicated a moments ago, he said it was like a volcano. Very difficult fire because it's being fed by gas lines. PG&E in the area to turn off the gas lines. But that is a major problem in San Francisco in the Marina District. We mentioned earlier in 6th and Townsend there have been 6 deaths caused by a collapsing roof to a company there. And Golden Gate Bridge is reportedly okay. Now, we're going to go to the marina again. This is new video. This is a 4-story apartment building that collapsed in the marina area, and people panicked. And this was the scene at the marina just a little while ago. Well, you can see right there, the buckled sidewalk behind the officers. It appears that people were trying to be calm and orderly and follow the directions of officers, but this tape is just in and unedited, so that's why you'll see this breakup. But there is a 4-story apartment building that has collapsed, and at this point we just don't know how many victims were in the building, but they are trying to check and try to evacuate that building. But numerous buildings in the marina have been damaged in this earthquake. We have more now from Channel 7's Cheryl Jennings. Cheryl. All right, Cheryl, I'm sorry we're having problems with your audio. We'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Some people outside our building here at 900 Front Street in the Embarcadero. We're right near where the freeway ends going on to Broadway, and apparently there has been no problem along any other freeways, but the East Bay seems to have had the biggest damage. Let's go back outside now to Cheryl.
Okay, Don, sorry about the technical difficulties. I'm standing here with Gail Harris right now and her mother, Joan Thackeray. They're from Los Angeles and from England visiting the Bay Area, and they were on their way to KGO to visit a friend of theirs, and they were on the Bay Bridge when the earthquake happened. Gail, let me start with you. What was it like for you?
We were going to Oakland on the Bay Bridge, and first of all, when the earthquake hit, the whole bridge swayed from side to side, and we felt like we had a flat tire, but you could see the whole bridge moving. Then the next thing, the traffic started slowing down, and then we saw a man on a bike coming against the traffic, and the traffic was still doing 30 miles an hour, and he was waving and telling everybody to get off the bridge.
What did you think at that point?
Well, we didn't know whether he was crazy, or we thought that it must have been more than a traffic accident. Mm-hmm. And so then the traffic slowed down, and everybody started getting out of their cars to see what was going on. And then next second, there was a herd of people running towards us, screaming and shouting, "Run, run," which was absolutely terrifying. So we just got out of the car and left everything and just ran. People were screaming and panicking and everything. And we ran all the way back to the island, which was a good 10 minutes.
Okay, Mrs. Thackeray, so apparently your car was left on the bridge. You locked it up and just ran for your lives?
It's locked up with everything inside, yes.
With a lot of other people. What were you thinking? This is your first earthquake.
Terrified. I didn't think. I just ran with everyone else.
Yeah.
And then when we got to Treasure Island, someone was kind enough to give us a lift back to town. And then we had to run through the streets of San Francisco, and there were buildings with sides off and rubble and glass all over the place until we got to this building, got inside and sank down.
Oh, well, what a relief that you're safe and sound, but you certainly witnessed one of the most frightening experiences that people here in the Bay Area have gone through. Thank you very much for that. We have another person that I want you to meet right now, David Costa. Thank you very much. David Costa is a stage manager for the Current Theater. Hi, David. Stagehand, excuse me. And you went through some pretty scary moments, too. Tell me what happened.
Well, when the earthquake started, I thought it was the turntable of Les Mis jamming up. But then I noticed that it was a little bit stronger than
Okay,
that.
now this is the play, Les Mis, that is coming up, right?
The water tower on the roof ruptured, and we took in a lot of water damage. But we should be able to get the show up on time. The Geary Theater lost an electric pipe. That's what I've heard. And so...
Was the set totally destroyed, did you say?
No, the set is going to be fine.
Okay.
We'll be able to go in tomorrow morning and...
Are you recovered now?
A little shaken still. Still waiting for the night
To be over, right? Okay.
through with. Yeah.
Thank you very much, David. Okay, let's go back to Don.
All right, Cheryl, an update on those 6 people who were crushed to death when that building collapsed south of Market at 6th and Townsend, that old building. All 6 of those people were in their cars. They were not inside the building. The building collapsed on the vehicles. We've had reports of minor damage at San Jose Airport.
.101, it's where the planes line up to take off outbound from San Francisco International. It's near the cargo area. It's the tail end of the main end runways. We could not get into the main terminal area. It's simply stacked up with cars like a parking lot. They've got it blocked off. My guess is that they're also checking that top cement structure, the upper level, the departure level, to make sure that there is no damage there. Maybe there is damage. Maybe that is why it's blocked off. I very simply couldn't get in there to see, so we came out to this part of the airport. What I can tell you, what we can see here, is that there is not much going on. If there is much power at the airport at all, it must be emergency power, because this place is usually lit up like a Christmas tree at night, and you can barely make out the buildings. The runway lights are there, but the other thing that is very conspicuous with the lack of activity out here, there is no outbound traffic, that is air traffic. There is no inbound traffic. It is very quiet. It is very eerie. Now, you can remember that in the last few weeks, they've been doing major work on the runways, resurfacing all the major runways out here. I don't know what effect that might have, because they have a lot of the asphalt stripped away and are doing subsurface work. We've seen many trucks with the orange caution lights flashing, going back and forth out here tonight, probably doing whatever inspection they can, but the air traffic is being rerouted somewhere. It's simply not coming into SFO, except for the noise on 101, that it would be completely quiet out here. We have been driving up and down the peninsula on 101 tonight. I can tell you that as it gets darker, we can see more and more power coming on in the hills. When probably about 45 minutes ago, you could barely see any power in the hills at all. It was just virtually black up and down the peninsula, except for auto taillights and headlights. But now we're seeing much more power coming on in the hills. We're going to try to get into the main terminal part of the airport to try to get you some more information, find out what damage, if any, there is there, what injury. So we're going to go now, and we'll get back to you when we can.
No idea at this point, then, when the airport might be reopened?
Absolutely not. We've not been able to talk to anybody in an official capacity. This is all from my eyes to you.
Okay, Frank, thank you. We'll let you go. Obviously, this took place just half an hour hour before the first pitch of the World Series was to take place. Pete Wilson, as you know, was at Candlestick Park there. We talked to you earlier. You're back here now.
There's so much to explain, Don. It took us approximately 50 minutes to move our way from Candlestick through Hunters Point using some of the back roads that we are familiar with. What we saw was eerie and, frankly, frightening. There are no lights in the city to speak of now, except in a few of the highest buildings that have their own power sources. People out on the stoops and in the streets of all the homes in Hunters Point and that area. Then we moved across near Army Street through the Warehouse District, cut over toward Mission and Market Street. In fact, went past Sutter General Hospital there, and that had been completely cut off, cordoned off by emergency people. Lights on in there, obviously working very hard at this point. We moved down Potrero and through the business district and up over into Russian Hill. Now, we saw the same thing. People on the streets, people unfocused, appearing not to know what to do. We can tell you one thing, that once we arrived at approximately Lombard Street and moved our way into the North Beach area, we smelled gas at virtually every intersection. The gas is everywhere. All we can tell you is not to smoke, not to light fires. Don't do anything which can disturb that. If you smell gas in your building, get out of your building. But be careful. It is dark now, and anything can happen on those streets. But if you smell gas, please stay out of the building. And it's going to be very obvious to you out there. It will do no good to panic at this point, obviously, but it is extremely important that you do that. Again, it's very unfocused, but the sense of seeing the city, the smoke coming from the marina, and we could see it all the way with no lights, is a truly frightening experience. At the stadium itself, I think a lot of people, in a sense, in a mild state of shock, not knowing when to leave, not knowing where to go, and really not knowing much information. So many of them from the South Bay as they were.
You were outside.
I was standing outside in the parking lot, about to go into the elevator that, in fact, broke down. So I was virtually a minute from that.
Do you see any structural damage to Candlestick?
There was structural damage. Now, you're going to hear conflicting reports on this. Some pieces of concrete, particularly in the walkway areas, cracked and simply crumbled there. We did not see sections of the upper lip of the stadium fall, as was reported earlier, but there are cracks visible. They are not big cracks. The stadium apparently took this fairly well. I talked to Bob Lurie, who said his people told him there was no severe damage to the stadium, and so that's why they felt they shouldn't move people out in a panic situation. They let them filter their way out of the place. Strangely, when we left the stadium, people were staying in their cars, breaking out the food they had there for whatnot, and that was probably a very good idea.
Okay. Pete, thank you. We'll let you catch your breath here now as well. We have to late report that the Amtrak, inbound Amtrak, the California Zephyr has been stopped in Sacramento, so it will not be headed to Oakland, obviously. We have a late word now from the Seismology lab in Berkeley, and we'll go to Willie Monroe there. Willie?
Well, Don, not much new to report here. As a matter of fact, here they are very certain that it's at least 7.0 on the Richter scale. I've heard reports of as much as 6.9, but they've pretty much determined it's 7.0 right here. One caveat, though, they still have to assign a magnitude to the earthquake on the basis of a review of all the California seismology stations that are reporting, because the equipment here, after 6.5 on the Richter scale, tends not to be quite as accurate. And so you have to kind of look at what's going on. So that may change. It may, in fact, be less than 7.0. Right now, at the seismology station at UC Berkeley, they're saying it's 7.0. Basically, they're saying you expect hundreds of aftershocks. Again, nothing, the very low probability of something in the magnitude of what we felt for the first initial shock, but perhaps as high as 5 on the Richter scale. But as the days go on, the hours go on, that possibility diminishes as well. That's the situation here at the UC Seismology Lab. They're going over their charts and they're working diligently in their laboratory. They're getting ready to go to the scene, the epicenter, to try to get a good look at what's happened there. They expect that they will actually be able to see physically on the surface of the ground a break as much as 3 to 5 feet, because they believe that the actual earthquake itself has created a separation of some 30 kilometers underground.
Yes, well, it was in the same area. Apparently, I believe it's the Lake Elsinore area, and we're double-checking that is where the epicenter is. Is that correct? Is that the information you have?
Well, the information I have is basically 10 miles northeast Santa Cruz, 20 miles south of San Jose. I don't really have a map to
Yeah, it's an area that has had movement before as well, and of course, so some of the areas nearby there, Hollister and so on, would obviously suffer damage near the epicenter.
Well, there was another earthquake here August 8th, and there was a magnitude 5.4 in the same region. So that's basically what we're talking about.
That's new information, though, upgrading that to 7.0. Okay, Willie Monroe, we thank you. Let's go now to the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge. Channel 7's Carol Ivy with a lot of traffic, obviously. Carol?
Don, what you're looking at is traffic moving slowly but surely across the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge. I am at the east end of the bridge. We just arrived here. If you can see behind me, what's happening is the power is completely out on the bridge, but it is open and moving. People are not being charged tolls. If you need to get to Marin County from the East Bay, this is the way to go. In fact, if you need to get anywhere from the East Bay to the rest of the Bay Area, this may be the way to go. I talked to a structural engineer inside the bridge office just moments ago. She told me that the bridge, despite earlier reports, never was shut today. I also want to tell you that we have made extensive checks in Marin County. The power is out in most of the county, but thankfully there are no fatalities and no serious injuries. One sheriff's deputy said to me, we're very, very lucky here in the North Bay. There seem to be no major problems. We've been hearing minor reports of gas smells, but again, maybe some of the little good news that I can report here from the North Bay is that Marin County seems to have survived this earthquake very well. And again, the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge is open and has remained open throughout this earthquake crisis. This is the way to get to other parts of the Bay Area if you have to. Don?
All right, Carol. Well, thank you. Yes, obviously, it's going to be a very difficult commute for people to get home to the East Bay tonight, but we understand that that bridge and also the ones south of the Bay Bridge will be open, we hope. Now, we'll go back to the Marina District. As we told you earlier, this is obviously an area that has been very hard hit. Fire crews coming into this inferno as apartment buildings collapsed. Remember, the Marina District was filled for is landfill, and therefore a number of the very expensive apartments and townhouses in this area have collapsed, fire burning unchecked. They're trying, it's been very difficult. There have been some injuries, it appears. Some people perhaps more panicked than anything else as they try to evacuate them from the homes, but the fire burns on. San Francisco's Marina District, an inferno.
We're painting on the second floor, and everything just started shaking, and it's a plaster and lath building, and just whole sheets of plaster were coming off the ceiling and the walls. And I was in the bathroom painting, Randy was in the living room. I ran to the bathroom door and stood there, and he was trying to get into a doorway, and the floor was falling at such an angle, it made him fall down.
There had been a courtyard in the backyard, and all the rubble and the pipes from the boiler all had fallen over, so we had to crawl over. And I held the baby so we could crawl over and hand the baby from one to another so we could crawl across all the debris in the back.
Again, you see the Marina District, the Jefferson Divisadero area where these very expensive buildings have collapsed, and the fire continues as San Francisco Fire Department tries to fight it. This was a four-story building, and that's the kind of problem. They are trying to evacuate people who may have been inside. A lot of people at home at that time or during the commute hour as the earthquake struck at 5:04 this afternoon in Northern California. We have an unofficial word, or it perhaps is official now, 7 people. We know 7 people have died in this crash, including the one, or in this quake rather, including the one when an old building south of Market collapsed on people in automobiles. And there is one other death too, perhaps one on the Bay Bridge when that section of it collapsed. But here trying to get people out of their homes, some injuries, perhaps just panic as well. And this, if it indeed is the big one that we've heard so much about, and people trying to do whatever they can to stop the fire, but part of the problem, obviously, is gas.
Electricity, store water, prepare for aftershocks, prepare for 3 days of no services. You got 90 minutes of light left. You better make use of your time. Standing here ain't doing nothing.
And it's dark now. Indeed, there is a problem with water pipes bursting all over Northern California. People are on the streets. They're not going home. There is gridlock traffic-wise while people try to get across the Golden Gate Bridge, which apparently is okay, although 19th Avenue, one of the approaches to the Golden Gate Bridge, is closed because one of the lanes there has apparently collapsed.
Go prepare yourselves! Prepare yourselves! Shut off the gas, shut off electricity, store water in your bathtub. Don't expect services for 72 hours.
All right, that is a warning from police, and that is part of the problem here, that we have no electricity. There's no power. The city virtually dark at this hour, perhaps illuminated only by that monstrous fire in the Marina District. Sewer lines have collapsed. Water lines are also torn apart. They're advising to stock up, as you heard, on bottled water. 280 freeway is closed in San Francisco.